Nio is in a very major spot. We've seen price break out of this very clean descending triangle, break cleanly out of this resistance, and furthermore, longer term resistance. We've seen this play out for a couple of months, and now we have some very strong liquidity getting us out of that formation. With that being said, we will be doing a technical analysis breakdown on Nio, starting on the weekly time frame. All right, guys, now starting on the weekly time frame, we see that this stock is no stranger to this type of movement, as we saw about a year ago a very similar move play out, right? We get into this descending formation, we form this descending triangle with the floor very close to where we are at right now, and then we get that breakout to around that $770 level, leading us to a longer term descending range, retracing that movement, creating this long term resistance. And now, guys, we have formed a very similar move, creating a descending triangle with this resistance and the support that we have laid out here. So similar, this one was just a little bit higher up. Guys, you can see the first time we broke out of a descending triangle formation on the weekly, we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks of price action coming from that $4 level all the way to that 770. So it shows how much of an explosive move we really got after breaking out of this formation. And then we come back down, we meet with that long-term resistance. We tried to test that, guys. We don't get it. And we come right back down to the floor of around that 330 to 340-ish range. We find some ascending support on the weekly time frame. We get pushed back above that, and we get very, very tight. We see very tight price action on the weekly, guys, really kind of building up for a big move up. We find our descending triangle-like pattern, and then we get that nice big leg up, guys, breaking through that descending resistance as well as that longer-term descending resistance that got made from that first breakout. We definitely seem to be in a very good spot to reverse, guys, as Nio has gotten that leg up, came back to the floor, pretty much double bottoming, right? This formation being a little bit higher, and we've gotten that move out. And you can see in the past, guys, we've gotten similar moves as we've gotten this nice move up to that $16 level, and we retrace, and you see we hold that support level pretty nicely. You see that double bottom formation, and we see another nice leg up before retracing, and it likes to react. It's a very reactive stock, and you really see that here as we come down to the floor. We form this triangle formation, we break out very nicely, and we come right back down to the floor, forming a very similar formation. You see that Nio really respects this floor, guys. As we bounce down here, we've gotten that nice leg up, came back down, and we've gotten that massive leg up to that $7 level. And we're talking about over 100% movement there. And then we see price come back down, guys, respecting this floor once again, getting a nice movement up, coming back down, trying to false break here, guys. So try to false break at this point. Cannot do that, push back up, and we see that nice movement out. So we see how much respect that Nio really has for the support level and this bottom here. We see that that is very close to all-time lows, and it's very well respected, this general range here. And you see we have just really descended after hitting that $66 level. At that point, people are skeptical to say, we're coming all the way back down to the floor here, but we end up coming back down to the floor. And judging from the weekly time frame, it very much looks like we are going to see a reversal here. It wouldn't be surprising to see price really, from the point it's at now, come back and retest that 770. And possibly further than that. I definitely see price building up that energy here, getting really tight, and then blowing up past two major resistance zones. Because ultimately, what we were seeing, guys, was this descending movement after this, come down of price. And sellers try to push us lower. So they try to break this formation, and we find that ascending support, building up some energy as we get that movement back up. Then we kind of grind back down, hitting that point again, and then that's where you see that big movement up. So definitely very bullish signs here on the weekly time frame. And furthermore, backing what we see here, guys, we see volume surge back in here. As we were descending, you see a very obvious descending profile in volume, and then you see a break through that descending profile. So we have volume coming in here, guys. We also have a very strong green wide bar engulfing these last few weekly candles. We're talking about the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weekly candles, completely engulfing those candles. I really wouldn't be surprised to see price trend all the way to that $7 level within the next, couple months to few months, guys, which would be over 100% movement, given the price action that we are seeing here. All right, guys, now on the daily chart, we see that top of that 770 come back down in this descending fashion, really chopping around here. Sellers are in that ultimate control. We try to get that leg up, tap that resistance once again. So we tap it at the top, create that resistance, and we see few tests of that resistance. And then we come back down, create another descending triangle formation. So we see the obvious resistance here. You say stemming back from these two touch points there. And you see that leg up, guys. After tapping that ascending support, get above there. Buyers find that momentum, but we hit that resistance and we see a lot of chop. So we get that movement up, we chop around, we try to hold at the top of that range. We cannot push down to the floor, to the bottom of that descending triangle. Try to get that leg back up, tap around that resistance, get back down, try to hold higher, tap around that resistance again. Then we see that flush back down to the floor. And that is where we get in this apex-like range, guys, which is a very tight formation, right? It's consolidation that's extremely tight. There's not a lot of chop, not a lot of volatility. So we're meeting at a range here with this resistance and the support, and somebody has to win as energy is building, guys. And then we see that very much surge in volume. We see that ascending profile in volume, and we see that big move up. So we see a little bit of back and forth, and then we see that green Y bar over this resistance of this descending triangle. And then from there, guys, we take it a step further, seeing a nice move over this longer term resistance that was created around that $770 level. So textbook price action, getting out of a range, very good opportunity here for buyers to step in, and that is exactly what they do. So we were in a textbook descending triangle, guys. We met with that resistance, a volatile movement up. We tried to hold, we see another volatile shutdown, getting all the way to that floor, and we see another nice movement up, trying to break through. Cannot do that. And we see another relatively volatile move back down to the floor. And then we get very, very tight in that apex range. Somebody has to win, meeting at the end of this formation. And then that's where buyers step in, breaking through that further resistance. Energy was building. We got that move up. Really good stuff here, guys. If we're taking a look at the past descending triangle that we were examining on the weekly, very, very similar in the sense that we had that nice volatile movement up. We tried to hold close to that ceiling, right, of that resistance. Got shut down. We didn't hit the floor as volatile as the one we saw most recently. We try to hold by that ceiling again, then we get that movement to the floor. But then we get really, really tight, kind of ascending, and we get shut back down to the floor. But then that's where buyers step in, breaking out. And once we fully get out of that range, that's where we see that volatility pick up, getting us out of that range and continuing that movement up. So it's likely that we get a move up, possibly chop sideways for a bit, and continue our move up to that $7 level and possibly beyond there. And in the long-term picture, guys, we just see a lot of volatility, a lot of chop, a lot of back and forth. But then in this range, guys, we really tighten up different price action and we get that pop right out. So really looking like Nio is prepped for a big movement up. And just like we saw last time, guys, if history repeats itself, should be getting that nice leg up. Now, taking you to the hourly, guys, we got a close eye view perspective of what happened here and what went on with price action. So we see that tight range that we were talking about on the daily time frame. So we see the volatility start to calm down. We get in this range, get to the ceiling, come down to the floor, get to the ceiling, almost to the ceiling, right? Come back down to the floor, get to the ceiling once again, and we get to the floor once again. So lots of back and forth, but we are trending in a tighter manner. And then we see that attempt at breaking through. We come back down and we get that break. After that break, we get that retest and a continued movement up. So very nice price action here, guys. You know, beautiful spot to get in as a buyer here. We still have a lot of room to the upside, in my opinion, but that was a very good textbook setup there, guys. And then followed up from this movement out, we see that huge green bar on the hourly time frame, really cranking us out of that longer term resistance. And you see that smaller pullback, big move up, small pullback, saw that move up, a little bit of a pullback, and continue to move up. Very probable here, guys, especially given how Nio has reacted to breaking out of these resistance zones. What we're seeing here, guys, is a textbook flag and pole. So we see that pole-like structure, and we are kind of moving sideways, right? This could be a little bit of a pullback. Also could be seeing kind of a flag and pole really start to form here. So wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of chop within this range, you know, over the next day or two, and continued movement up. We could just get that movement up, kind of like we saw here, right? Move up, a little bit of a pullback, very small pullback, and then a big move up. Could be seeing something like that, get that move up sooner than later. But wouldn't shock me to see a little bit of consolidation and a further move up. Could be a few barriers in the way, but Nio is definitely looking great here after breaking out of that major structure. And guys, as a seller, you want to see them step in sooner than later. You want to see this being a false breakout of this longer term resistance and further trying to retrace that move, trying to get us back in this tighter consolidation range. But I do think that it is quite unlikely at this point, given that we have built up so much energy after a lot of back and forth, and we were in a long-term range, finally breaking out. Definitely looking good. We are bullish on Nio here, guys. So that's all I got for you guys today. If you enjoyed and want to see more, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll continue to cover Nio as well as other major tickers. Let me know your price predictions in the comments below, guys. What do you think Nio's going to do here? Appreciate all you guys making it to the end of the video. As always, guys, trade smart, and I'll see you all in the next one.